Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, January 14th, 2014. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I have to note that this meeting is being recorded by East Long Meadow Cable Access and also by the Selectmen's Office, and I have to ask if anyone else in the room is recording the meeting. Seeing no one, we can proceed. Tonight's, we'll get a couple items first before we get to the budgets. The first item is we have, for the board, we have our meeting schedule for 2014, and if you could we all review it and then get back with any changes? I know there's going to be changes based on vacations and whatnot, so if we could get back with any changes, we can handle them appropriately. And the next item is for approval and signature, we have a certificate of free sale for W.F. Young for the United Arab Emirates. And that's just for...
That's just to make sure. Nick, there were no reports with regards to W. Young? Okay. That's just to certify that there were no reports and that we know of, okay. And I'll sign off on that.
All right, great, thank you. Next item is the personnel evaluation forms. Selectman Bronski.
Yes, well, so we made the appropriate and requested changes to the form, and those were submitted at the last meeting. I think that the official document is before us, and we're looking through the chairman for an official vote to accept the performance review form as presented so that we can move forward and start doing performance evaluations of our department heads.
Okay. In that case, is there a motion to accept the personnel evaluation forms for use?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Notice you have copies if the board wanted to distribute them this evening.
Sure.
I would also ask that the board consider a schedule for when we may want to have the department heads at your next meeting, perhaps.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Which is next week, obviously, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. The next item on our agenda is we have appointments with our department heads tonight regarding their budgets, and the first appointment at 6 o'clock is Colin Drury from Recreation. Bless you.
Thank you.
Come on up, Colin.
I'll take those blessings.
I don't think we can shake hands at this table because
Yeah,
we're too far away.
We'll give you a high
Yeah.
five.
We don't want you to do that. How are you?
Good, how's it going?
Good. So as everyone knows, we had a maximum of a 1% increase, and I know Selectman Thorpe, you believe you worked.
I did review his
Yeah.
budget. Although he has something that he wants to say.
Okay.
I did go back with the recommendations from our meeting.
Okay, great.
And from what I see, but he has something that he wants to
Okay,
add to
great.
it.
Go ahead, Tom.
With the only real thing that still needs to be completed with our budget is my actual salary.
Okay.
And I know that last year, we're in the budget season, I'd only been in the position for 5 months at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the board said that they'd like to wait till I've completed my first year to talk about raises for last year and then this upcoming fiscal year. So I would like to sit down with the board and discuss my salary so that my budget can be completed.
Okay. I'm trying to think, it might be a good idea for you to give us your ideas,
Okay.
and then we can
Actually,
proceed to carve them up and go from there. No, I'm sorry.
But would negotiations have to be an executive committee?
Yes. Well, I'm not saying right now. I'm just
Okay.
saying in general. Yeah. So if you want to supply us with what your wishes are, and then we'll go from there. We'll review that and get back to you.
Sure, great.
All right.
I can send that over to you.
Okay, great. Yeah, send it to Nick, and then he can forward it to the three of us.
Excellent.
And that
Yes.
being said, through the chairman?
Yep.
Why don't you take this?
Sure.
So this is the performance evaluation form that we're going to be using to sit down with our department heads. And generally, we agreed that we were going to ask you to fill it out based on your own perception of your performance.
Okay.
And then we'll sit together, we'll also fill it out ourselves, and then we'll sit together as a group to discuss thoughts and opinions and set some goals and go from there.
Excellent.
Okay,
Very
so
good.
that's for you. If you have any questions, let me know.
Oh, will do.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Colin.
Also with the budget, I did send this to your email, but I did want to bring a copy for each of you as well, a signed copy. Just a letter.
I have
Kind
it.
of talking about, what the 1% is going to do to the recreation department, going forward. So if you have any questions regarding that, please let me know.
Okay.
Also, if there's any questions specifically to the recreation department budget, I'm ready and willing for those questions.
Just out of curiosity, when was this sent?
I sent it today
Oh.
to you.
And this is something that will be included with your budget for appropriations?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I actually have already sent that over to
Okay.
the chairman, chair of the
Okay,
commission.
very good.
Any other questions?
All right.
No,
Think so.
thank you very much.
All right.
All set. Thank
I'll
you.
be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next is our,
But, I'm sorry, through the chair.
Mhm.
By accepting it does not mean that that's approved, correct?
correct.
I just wanted to be clear on that.
Mr. Chairman, that was my question as well. But these would be the ones that the department heads will be submitting to the Appropriations Committee
Right.
this Thursday.
Right.
Then I guess we'd have to be there to make our comments there.
Well, they're delivered to me on Thursday, and so I'll assemble them and review them on Thursday, and then next Thursday after that is when I think appropriations is going to start.
Oh, okay.
reviewing.
And as a reminder, again through the chairman, the Board of Selectmen is scheduled at this point to meet with the Appropriations Committee on February 20th regarding its department heads' budgets.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously, what's that?
That
Oh,
won't-
okay. Yeah, so between now and then, if there's any changes that can be made to the budgets or whatever, so then we can handle those accordingly. All right, next person up is into the confessional is Carolyn Brennan from the Council on Aging.
Confessional. Welcome, my child.
My brother.
You started it.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So we have your budget here,
Yes, we
and
do.
let's see, you've got your regular budget, and I believe you have your wish list budget?
Yes.
Okay. And thankfully, the regular budget falls within the 1% guidelines.
It does. With some reductions in our expense account,
Okay,
which would affect our training and our mileage.
okay, and do you want to be more specific?
Yeah,
than
I
that,
think
or-
my biggest concern is one of the things that we're really proud of is the, really bringing it up to a certain standard with our health and wellness programs. And we've really invested a lot of money in our RN, who's been getting trained through the arthritis program to do Tai Chi, Matter of Balance, My Life, My Health, which are all evidence-based programs that are showing that it's definitely making a change in elders' lives. And I hate to see that stop. But it is ongoing training. And in fact, this year in September, we do have, we're on a worldwide web. We have a trainer for Tai Chi for the arthritis program from Australia coming to do a training here in East Long Meadow. So I'd hate to see us stop at that point. I would really like to keep that standard so that it would mostly affect Lisa's trainings because they are a little bit more expensive.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate the pain of going through this, and I think that, the Appropriations Committee asking us to go through this exercise is a good exercise to go through. There are some serious concerns about our budget going forward. This level funding, we don't want to do it, and obviously, having to go through the exercise, and your narrative was fabulous as well. So you did exactly what you did exactly what they asked you to do, and I appreciate that. And my hope is that we won't have to go to this level.
Sure.
But I appreciate that you took the effort and time to do the narrative and to do what it is they
Thank you.
asked.
Thank you.
And hear you loud and clear about not wanting to make that happen, so.
Right. There is another, we did ask for an additional, for our publicist and our clerk. She is here from 9 to 2. And what we have noticed is some of the increase in services that we're providing is more of our professional services, such as social services and our services that our nurses are providing. So we used to use them to kind of offset that time when we didn't have enough staff. And that is becoming more and more difficult. Janice, our social service director, literally is, when she walks in the door at 8, she has appointments until 4:30. Same thing with Lisa. Lisa's position, her office is the other end of the building, so to have her step away from her desk, step away from her clients, to fill in as a receptionist is very difficult. So it's not so much the busyness at the end of the day, but it's the phone calls that come in, it's being able to screen some of those calls and get them to the right people. So it's something we've known we've needed, but we're really feeling the impact more recently, so.
So the wish list is to add the
Additional
7.5
8,000.
up.
It's, right. So that extra hour, she's 9 to 2, 9 to 3, we were asking for that extra hour in the morning, extra hour in the afternoon.
So from 30 to 37.5 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to add, one of the things that we are looking for, which I spoke with my Council on Aging Board today, is we're looking to do accreditation, which is a national accreditation. It takes about a year to do that, but I think that if, especially with Lisa's position and Janice's position, if we can keep that at that level, one of the things that accreditation does is it does help you get more grants. So since that's pretty much the majority of my time, it's something that we're all excited to do,
Yep.
and I think it would be great for the community, so we want to pursue that.
Okay, great. And with any luck, we'll see what the actual budget figures are from the state, and see if they're actually a little better than what we're anticipating, and we'll go from there. We might get an idea next week when we go to the MMA conference, because
That would be
sometimes
great,
they
yeah.
give us a,
Sneak peek.
yeah, and how dire things are, so.
Great.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your
Thanks.
hard work. Oh, Nick? Oh, Carolyn?
Oh, sorry, yes, evaluation form.
I did hear what you said.
All right, it doesn't matter if we take people out of turn if they're here, right, Nick? We won't break protocol.
I think that the board could do it.
Tom Florence is not here.
Yeah, but we have Ryan.
We have Ryan.
Ryan, would you like to come up early?
I did meet with Ryan, so.
Okay. How are you, sir?
Hanging in
Oh,
there.
yeah, we got the multicolored.
Yeah, you can tell he's an IT guy.
There's only a couple down. Okay. So you have the 1% budget
1%
per
budget.
request.
Spared 15 cents.
You did a great job.
And you put that in there too, right? Because everything's rounded, but you have to put the 15 cents.
Through the chairman, I just would like to say
yes.
that Ryan did call me and did meet with me to go
Okay.
over his budget and explained in detail all of the line items and did exactly what he was asked to do.
Great.
So, thank you for
Nice and
that, I
colorful.
appreciate it.
Feel
And
it
for the
makes it
color,
easier to
yeah.
read.
And as far
I'm
as
a
your,
visual person, so.
let's see, as far as your wish list, okay.
Yeah, the
Would be
biggest
to
thing on the wish
restore
list.
what he's taking
It's just-
out.
it's
Yeah,
those-
it's
those
just-
damn support things for the programs.
Yeah, it's the maintenance contract for
Yeah.
our reverse 911, the Blackboard Connect.
Mhm.
That's what a lot of the departments use to make the town-wide phone calls, and we use it a lot in the event of an emergency. To meet the budget guidelines, that's what I had to cut in order to make everything fit, all the pieces fit.
Right.
That's not the only thing that we had cut, but
You
But that's the most-
can't cut
that's
a
the most
piece of
important.
contract for maintenance on your software. That
Right.
just doesn't work, so.
right, the fire department switched software packages, saved us a couple $1,000s. We're not gonna have, we changed the way we do our GIS software,
Mhm.
and that saved us $2,000. And we're not gonna do proactive replacement through the cell phone contract.
Mhm.
It'll just be break fix.
Okay.
The community alert system,
Mhm.
that's been totally taken out, I noticed,
Yeah, for July 1st, we will not be renewing that contract.
but we had a replacement.
We do not have a
No,
replacement.
that's what he's
I'm
taking
sorry,
out to
that's
me
why I
is
need to
level
be-
funding.
Trying to be sure.
No, no.
So in other words, if we can squeak another like 1.7%, that'll cover the 11 grand.
Yeah,
Looks like
we can
so.
add that
Okay.
back in.
All right. Very good.
Thank you for
Well,
doing that.
unfortunately, we have to do that, but we'll go from there. And so, like I said, tell everybody the same thing, see what happens, and,
Try to play by the rules.
Exactly.
No, good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you, sir. It's a lovely parting gift.
Do you have electronic copy?
Yes.
I'll fill it up by hand, you're not gonna be able to read it though.
Okay.
All right, you want to send them one? Note that.
I have it.
Chairman was planning on sending it around to all departments.
Oh, okay.
But just a copy for.
They would take it just to
Look
look
at
it
it.
In case you get some
And
insomnia.
contemplate.
You may have two there.
Great.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And once again, if he's willing to be taken out of order, we
Chief?
can have our chief of police.
I'll call Tom, make sure he knows it's here.
Okay. So he could have followed me over. I was at town hall.
Hi, Chief.
Hello,
Quarter
how
of.
are you?
How are you, sir?
These are, we didn't have these for when they were submitted to Nick on Friday. This is for the department funds.
Thank you.
I think that's the fourth page. And I heard you talked about the narrative. I had given the narrative, I have it on my desk. And I thought that was to go to the Appropriations Committee.
That's fine.
Okay.
You want
We
to send us a
didn't have-
copy of,
Okay.
after the fact.
Yep.
But once again, I reviewed your budget with you, and
Yes, sir.
you and Penny, and you did adhere to the 1%.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I would agree.
And I noticed what you have on the second page. You have a few things that you obviously had to reduce to make it to budget. So we're hoping that certain items are actually less than have been in previous years, especially repairs and things. But hopefully with the newer cruisers,
Get a little more length of warranty on it.
yes.
The other item was those AED batteries
Mm-hmm.
for our DFIBS devices that we
Yeah.
have in the cruisers. They all seem to come at the same time when they have to be replaced.
Yeah, I didn't know a shredder cost that much. Jeez.
Oh yeah, those are
Kind of a heavy duty, because a lot of them now are plastic,
yeah.
so the durability isn't there.
Yeah, you can't use those ones you attach to a trash can for home use. You got to use the heavy duty ones because
You looked into a service, it's a,
When we do the Pro Shred, I really don't want to undercut the guy's business. He's doing it for free for the people in town.
oh, you mean bringing
residents
stuff
in
here
town.
from the police station?
Yeah, just come down.
okay.
Yeah, and obviously there's, using a service, I guess, that once again, is a function of, you'd still be stacking things up until the,
Until that date
until
comes.
it's in, and you'd have
Right.
the danger of people looking at,
Right.
getting information off of them, so. So, yeah, there was, as far as, off the top of your head, as far as your wish list, do you remember,
I'd like to do additional funding for training.
okay,
We have a state mandate that's 40 hours, of which there's no funding from the state to do.
there's a surprise, an unfunded mandate? Who'd have thought?
And we thought we had a case going with the Inspector General's office and the state auditors, but they kind of suggested they're not going to fight that battle. So we try to give them legal updates and defensive tactics. We also have, as emergency 911 call takers, we have to refresh with 16 hours. A lot of that is funded with state 911 grant money. But there's other things I want to do. I want to expand on our drug activity as far as detection, investigations. There's a lot of things going on in town. And if we can try to stay on top of it, nip it in the bud, it's going to be kudos to us and what we're doing. And it takes time for me to train someone. Officer Thorpe is replacing Officer Baranski because I don't have the manpower, or the luxury to take two people off. I still have a shift to cover.
Right.
So we've been chasing our tail on that for a few years.
Well, I appreciate your
And you
efforts
can
to.
continue looking for grants.
Yes. As few and far
Yeah,
as
we
they
always
are.
appreciate when you look for that,
Yeah.
especially grants that don't cost us
Yes. All
money
right,
to
great.
get it.
And thank you for, obviously, unfortunately, there were a couple cuts here to keep within the guidelines, but thank you for your hard work and Penny's hard work in getting.
Definitely Penny.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I realize you lost her out of it, we want to say that out loud.
But you just did.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Chief.
thanks, Chief.
Don, edit that, will you, please? She'll be fit to work with tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right, let's take a moment. Why don't I do the,
Well, meetings and decisions.
what's that? Why don't I do the, we have two items under meetings, invitations, and reminders. The town offices are closed Monday, January 20th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and the Board of Selectmen's next meeting is Tuesday, January 21st, 6 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
One other related announcement said
Mhm.
that trash will be on a regular schedule next week.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Trash is an important conversation.
As a matter of fact, I mentioned that bag issue to the gentleman I met earlier. You had a, I don't know if I'm bringing this up now, but you had a email from someone saying that their second bag wasn't picked up.
Right.
Mine wasn't either. So I mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
So I mentioned it to them.
Nick was taking care of
Yeah,
that.
okay.
I forwarded it to, Lorraine.
Okay, great.
Lorraine said she was
Great.
gonna give a phone call, and she had the address, and I guess they were gonna go back and pick it up.
Oh, really?
They were notified, yeah.
Ah, okay. Well, I just throw
That's
mine
what
in
Lauren
as
said.
time goes on, so.
Mm.
Alrighty.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know how many people were affected, but, or if they didn't realize it, or if it was just one route, but
Yeah.
anyways. Okay, trying to think of where to proceed now. I mean, we've got,
Do you want to try and contact
Do you want to do Nick?
Mr. Hellier?
Is it possible that they're at the, you think
Yeah,
they're
we'll
at the
take a
wrong
look.
place?
no, I think they're, well, like, they're not till 6:30 or 6:45, so. Well, I don't know, Nick's got a bunch of them. You wanna go?
The only one is that, I don't know if
I'll go.
Mr. O'Connor might want to be here for the ACO one, but Mr.
Well, why don't we do Mr. Mackey right now?
Which one is,
Okay,
all the way at the end? Okay.
that's why I like a one-pager. There's Mr. Hellier, all right.
Pretty much
How
zero.
are you, Don?
Good, thank you.
Hello, sir.
You?
And we have your budget here, and as we
Give me 1
explain,
minute.
okay,
Sorry.
well, as we explain every year, your budget is funded strictly by the, what's it called, what's the acronym?
Oh, was the LCAT?
Well, no, on our bill.
Subscribers or fees.
Oh, PEG fees,
PEG fees, yeah,
Yes.
for
PEG fees.
public,
educational and government
Thank you.
programming. Yep.
and that's where we get the money to run LCAT, and I believe it's, let's see, what do
It's
you?
3.5% of gross revenues.
Okay. So for fiscal 2015, it appears to be $170,000, if I get this right?
The payment, yes.
Oh, the payment, yeah, well, revenues, yeah.
Right.
Which looks like it's a little bit less than the previous year, because you got 178.
Well, we put 170 as a conservative.
Okay,
because
good.
You never know.
Okay. So yours, like I said, yours is fairly standard, you,
It's been the same for
mhm,
all the years I've done budgets, it's been the same.
right. And obviously with the exception of opening the new studio, which was a bit of an expense, but that's over
That
and
was
done with.
capital.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's over and done with.
That's over and done with.
And other than that, you have a, yeah, regular, there's no, there's nothing to
No change.
question.
Yeah, there's
no-
no,
yeah.
it's pretty
Is there
much.
something
I'm
you
trying
want
to
to
find
say?
something to talk about, Don. It's just like, all right, so other than that, I mean, we're all set. You've got your budget, and we'll get it over there, you can get it over to Tom, and I'll get the appropriations. and we'll go from there.
We did not have a chance to sit down, so.
Okay,
We
all
will,
right.
we will do that
Great.
before Thursday.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, Thank you very much.
Oh. You can review yourself?
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Tom. How are you? Good.
Hello, sir.
Likewise.
How are you?
How are you?
Hello.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Yes, it is. Happy New Year. I've spoken to you, but I haven't seen you.
That's right.
Okay.
Just come by fast already.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
it is.
All right. So once again, you've been diligent in,
Try.
and to get to your budget, and you have done it.
Yep.
I noticed, okay, hold on a second here. You reduced your porta potty expense?
Yeah, that's,
I'm sorry, there's a lot of things to notice. I gotta notice it, yeah.
yeah, there it is. It's the other services or porta potty. No.
And I noticed that, I noticed, and not that it's a big deal, but we had discussed that the fire department didn't need the white car anymore, so it seems like it's sort of going towards you.
It's going toward me, and
Okay.
I put an extra $530 in there.
Yeah, okay.
Just, for gas, oil changes, for, that's probably minimum what I'll need just to
Okay.
go back and forth on top of the in-state mileage. So that's explains that increase. Yeah.
But you did what you were asked. Again, I appreciate
Right.
the effort.
Yeah.
And if you want to go
thank
over some of
very
these
much.
reductions, because obviously the top one is,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and the election's really quick, because that's probably a quicker one. We're gonna have less elections this year. What, I budgeted for 4. We have the I brought budget for preliminary, the local election, the state primary, and then the state election. So there's 4 in there. We may only have 3. It depends if we have a preliminary. I just had update of the nomination papers. Somebody came in to return papers today for, so I we gotta wait till January 28th to see. But we can reduce what we had last time, because last time was still the carryover from all the elections we had
Right,
from the year before. So I was able to reduce that by over $5,000, which
Great.
we should be able to hit, so that's good.
Yeah,
And hopefully
great.
we won't have to
And
have
thus
that
the
many
porta potty.
elections.
That's right.
Less elections, less porta potty.
Less
use.
elections, less fire fight. But that.
It's a trickle down.
Ooh, I won't even touch that one.
Jeez.
Sorry, I'm not touching that.
That was awful.
I joke, that's a pisser.
No,
That's
it's
right.
okay.
There you go.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously to meet these guidelines, well, you can explain the top
Okay.
reduction.
Yeah, the biggest one on the treasure side is, the contractual increases we have for the town hall employees, and then the contractual increase for myself. And then there's a promotion I put in there for the assistant treasurer. I put it in the budget. He's, I think it's well justified, and get him up to a comparable grade level as some other people. I think the increase is reflected in there. However, the reductions come from, in order for those 3 things to happen, my contractual increase, the other increases for the town hall employees, and then the assistant treasurer's increase. My methodology is for a 2 to 3 month period, depending on how the final numbers roll out. We would close the town hall at noontime on Fridays, and just basically have a furlough.
What
Close-
was the, I'm sorry.
I say close the clerk's office. Yeah.
I'm sorry, just the clerk's office, not
Okay.
the town hall, just the clerk's office. And again, it's such a fixed budget, the only place we can get a reduction like that is in services.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, through the chair,
Mm-hmm.
the assistant treasurer, what was the percentage of that increase?
The percentage, I think it was between 5 and 6%. I had to take a look at the grade 9. Right now, he's at a grade 8, step 6, and the increase would go to a grade 9, step 6. So whatever that increase, I think it was around 5% with the promotional increase based on the union pay scales.
All right, and then let's see, so you've got,
And I also reduced the other charges, the 5785, which is a reduction of tax title cases. We do have a tax title attorney that we use periodically to help us with tax title recordings, some analysis. We would reduce that
Okay.
account to get us down to the 1%.
okay. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Chair, those are up for discussion
What's that?
at a later time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, thank you for your hard work.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
And thank you for your continued hard work with the town.
Okay.
And now, do we
Who's
want,
here for the explanation of that?
So, that's right. So, we've approved performance evaluation, performance reviews. What we're asking our department heads to do is fill it out for themselves,
Okay.
based on your own feelings. We all will be filling them out as well, and then having a sit-down with you, scheduling a time to go through them. And we'll be doing these initially, and then 6 months and annually,
Okay.
setting goals and, perfect, okay?
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of
Okay.
sense.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along here.
Mr. Hellier? Sir? How are you? Good, thanks. We can't reach across.
What's that?
There's no tables to reach across. I can give you that, though. Okay. So you also managed to reach the 1% budget. And I don't see in here anywhere like a wish list type thing. I noticed the only thing you reduced was training. Is
Yes.
that for you or for your new assistant? Or?
Well, the reason why I reduced training is because I still have $200 from fines. There's certain type of ticketing that I have issued out, which I received the money for, and that stays into the general fund until I
Oh, okay.
then that's state law.
So that'll cover part of what you,
That will be $200
Yeah.
more. So that's where I was able to cut.
Great.
okay, great. And other than that, it doesn't look like there's,
No wish list. You
Yeah,
got all
no-
your wishes
no-
already. You got a new office, you got an assistant, you couldn't ask for anything more.
I couldn't ask for anything more than my assistant. I mean, she's great. But, yeah, and I got a new office,
okay.
but that's okay.
All right, other than that, I mean, you only have, like I said, you only have one item, so you've met your requirements, so thank you for your hard work, and
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
have a good evening.
Okay, who else?
Okay, we have 67% of the people that are left are sitting on either side of us, so whoever wants to go next.
I'll go.
And in the meantime, we may want to try to get a hold of the fire chief, so,
Yes.
thank you. So if you'd like to go, Tom,
Oh, okay.
you can even, if Don doesn't mind, he can probably stay there if you want, it's up to you.
What's that?
Can he stay, can he go from?
No, because I
Okay.
won't hear him as well, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Okay. So is there any particular order you want to go in with this, or do you want us to just start from the top, which would be liability insurances?
Sure. Start there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Our liability insurance is with Maya Mass Interlocal Insurance. And basically, it's a self-insured, statewide liability insurance plan that many, many towns use. And I think it's very beneficial. And I believe we can meet, the guideline. Our premium should be within there, because we're going to have about $30,000 in credits. We get credits for certain achievements and so on. So I think we're going to be fine there.
Great. Great, so that came in at the correct budget amount,
Mhm.
so, okay.
Yep.
And next is payroll taxes.
Yep, payroll taxes is the town side of the Medicare match. And it's basically put together just based on a projection, because we don't know what our salaries are going to be for FY15 until the budget is complete. So, but I think this number will be well sufficient to cover the payroll taxes.
All right,
Okay.
great. And next is retirement contribution, which looks to be,
We need the increase in that.
yes, that is the one that we, in theory, have to increase over
Right.
time.
Yeah, the retirement contribution, we submit our employee enrollment data and salary data to the Hampden County Retirement Board, and they crunch the actuarial numbers based on how long folks may live, and how long they may receive retirement after retiring. So we get an assessment, and I actually had planned on about $70,000 more than what we actually received. This is an actual bill, so the 2,611,000 would be an actual.
But now we've got
Not
the
much we
guide,
can do there.
but we've got the guideline total of, so
Yeah,
you.
so we're over,
Okay.
yeah.
Right, we can't reduce that, though.
No,
It's just-
I mean, it's an assessment.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. All right. And then long-term principal.
Yep.
Same thing.
Long-term principal is reducing $152,000 this year. If we don't finance any new projects, we'll see, I guess, as time goes along. And this is just based on the amortization schedule. We have about 100 bonds outstanding for projects that have occurred over the last 15 years. And as they fall off, as they mature, our principal decreases. So we're on a decreasing scale because we have not financed any new projects in the general fund. And overall, I'm sorry, we did. We will be financing a new project under the water department. But if you flip onto the second page, it gives you a breakdown as to what the principal payments would be for general fund, water fund, sewer fund, and the community preservation fund. So we are in a, pretty good position there in the fact that it's declining.
Right, or principal payments.
And I think over the next few years, it'll be declining also if we don't finance new projects.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay?
And then health insurance.
Health insurance. Luckily, we're not experiencing national industry average increases of, 8 and 9, 10%. We are financed, self-insured through the Scannick Valley Health Regional Trust. And that's 5 towns, Long Meadow, Wilbraham, Hamden, in the school district of Wilbraham. We all pay our premiums into that. The claims get paid out. And it's been in place for many, many years, and it's very, very successful. I sit on the board on behalf of you, and I think we do some great things there with wellness prevention, keeping people healthy, because that's really the key to keeping them off the claims chart.
Right.
And I think we can meet this goal. We will approve premiums, which I'll notify you on in March.
Okay.
So we'll be looking at the claims data and determining what each plan's premiums may be in order to fund it.
Okay.
And in that fund, there's about a $5 million 5-town-wide surplus. So it's a solid health trust.
Can you
Great.
look into, I know that the state was offering grants and funding for additional wellness programs.
Sure.
For businesses. Can we qualify as a town, as a business? Don't know, but that might be something to take a look at. So there are grants for employers out there.
Through the state?
Yes, for wellness programs.
Sure.
So perhaps we can do something creative with that.
Sure. Yeah, I think we're lucky to be in this program. It's just a great group also. And we live in healthy communities, which also
Bless you.
helps
Bless you.
the overall.
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
The next is accounting, I believe.
Oh, I have workers' comp also?
Okay, you want to do that one next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Workers' comp, I also feel that we can meet the guideline. Workers' compensation insurance is a growing and multi-tiered area these days. So we have hired UTCA, which was, I always forget, United Trust. They're in Springfield, UTCA. But they're a very, very good firm, and they help us manage the unemployment claims and workers' comp claims. They're just great. But I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, so the reduction here is just based on your opinion that we're gonna make the budget figure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and we have some credits coming our
Yep.
way also, so
Okay.
I think we'll be good there.
All right, great.
Do we have a lot of workman's comp claims?
No, we really don't. We're lucky, but we have a lot of slips and falls on the ice. And that's why we don't pay a significant amount. I think we manage it pretty good. The DPW does a great job of keeping the buildings well maintained, so you don't have any accidents. They're not getting too many accidents. I mean, there's things that happen from time to time, falling off a ladder or hurting himself on the back of a truck, but I think the most significant things that have happened over the last 2 years are 2 broken arms. And it was just a trip and a fall over a wire. And those were the most significant things I think we've had in 6.5 years. So we're,
Okay.
we're doing well.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so this is about what workman's comp insurance goes for then?
Yeah. Yeah. We get a great rate. I think if we were private industry, we'd paying about 4 times that number.
All right,
Thank
last
you.
but not least is accounting.
Yep. And there's
It
my
looks like there's
department.
one cut.
Yeah, there's, as you know, there's 3 folks, myself, Terry's our new payroll person. She's 30 hours a week. Olga has been here for 13 years or 14 years, and she's my assistant. She's done great. She does a great job. Without them, my nights would be longer, so I very much appreciate their work. And if we can fill the part-time position, which would be a max of, after the cut, 16 hours a week, what that would do is help us during times of, when I'm out at meetings and the office has to run. Olga's there. She's trying to do everything and balance everything. And this would bring a person in that we could train that has real accounting skills to help us get through the tough periods. It's always busy in our office. We're going constantly. And we have Doc sitting in right now, working about 10 hours a week. And so it would either be Doc increasing his hours another 5 hours a week. However, I'd be taking him away from
Somebody else.
Rack and IT, so it's kind of tough. But the great thing is, and I wish we could do this to everybody, is having these bookkeepers work in our office and really get a real feel for the back room of what the accounting function is. So if I had to spin, I wouldn't want to spin Doc off, and replace him. But if I have to spin Doc off to the rec or the IT or another department, he's well suited to do a great job for them, and he knows our side also. So overall, I think we're doing well, right now
And once
with
again,
what we have.
yeah, and once again, you've met the 1% guideline. So in effect, that pay that you cut by the $6,000 is a position that's not filled right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's only partially
Trying to
filled.
figure that out.
Yeah, okay, I just wanna make sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cutting
And
by
you're still
not filling
adding
what
another
we said,
person.
right.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. I'd like to get it, but
Yeah.
we
So
could
is
do
it-
what we can do.
So if we can get
We'll-
the funding, that's what you'll use it for.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And we're venturing off into the Munis world and expanding significantly, as you know, into the Munis module. So my wish list, although I don't have it here, would be only to get more training dollars for the staff. But I guess we'll see as we know what we get from the state.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like Oprah, instead of giving out cars, I'm giving out performance evaluation.
Not quite the same response.
No, I know it, obviously, yeah. Look under your chair, and there's a performance evaluation under there.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and-
Nick, you ready?
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
Hello.
Hello. If I could, I'd like to call up maybe Mr. Gentile and
Sure.
come up first, if that's okay with the board.
Sure,
Just
come on
the
up.
emergency
Oh,
prepared.
okay.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Well, how are you?
Doing good.
You're gonna have to bear with me, it's my first time ever doing this, so.
You're fine. You're in good company.
That's what I've been told.
For the board.
Acceleration.
As a,
So he's not actually
Oh, okay.
under fire?
No, this was one that was sort of handed off to Selectmen, but,
Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
thanks. So if I could maybe just start from a moment or two.
Sure.
Emergency Management Director, obviously the board appointed Mr. Gentile a short time ago. And as he said, this is his first time through this process. It's been years past where I've made a presentation to the board based on working with the Emergency Management Director. I think Selectman Thorpe, for my opinion, I think that maybe some other structure in years going forward might make more sense. But then again, the EMD is your appointee. So whichever way
It
it
doesn't,
happens.
no.
So we have, I've met with Anthony and Eric Madison, Chief Madison, the other day to talk about this budget. Eric is obviously on the Appropriations Committee. Anyway, we met and talked about the budget, explained a little bit about the 1% process, which Anthony had already come in with some ideas about for the department, but understanding that there is this constraint of the 1%. However, what I'd like to do is, and you're just getting this now, is give Anthony an opportunity to explain what those, what his vision is for the department, for the function, and maybe explain at least some of these proposed increases.
Okay.
The only, one of the only things that I would like to show an increase for is the purchase of a mobile unit for my vehicle. I have 2 portable radios, and as everybody knows, I'm a communications person. Communications interoperability is a key thing in keeping the town safe, talking to other department heads, other departments that are coming in to assist. That's one of the items here that I had as well. I think that.
Yeah, I noticed now, if I've got this pegged correctly, the level services is what is basically the wish list. And,
Right.
And then the reductions are down to what the actual budget will be as of, with the 1%, so.
That's correct.
So you'd be looking for an increase for repair, computer repairs, and then, like you just said, the mobile radio unit, and then the, increase in the stipend. So, okay, I just wanna make sure that I get this straight, so the left column is the wish list left.
Correct.
And then the right column is the actual, so, okay,
Right.
great.
So you made your reduction as requested, and there's your wish list in case we get all the money from the state that we didn't anticipate.
And we can work on that. Correct. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Great,
much.
thank you.
That was easy, wasn't it?
That was easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what would you like to do next?
I have Board of Selectmen.
Okay, great.
So with the Board of Selectmen, I present to the board a 1% budget. To get there, I proposed cutting some training, which I think is a familiar refrain this evening, which would include MMA attendance, MMA seminars through the year, some certified procurement training, which on this given year actually wouldn't be necessarily a hardship because I did quite a bit of it in last year.
Okay.
Although I do want to see about having some staff get some of that training going forward. Then I would also propose to cut some advertising, which has been a variable cost.
I was gonna say, over the last few years, it's gone from $1,300 to $7,900, depending on that. Now, I assume that depends, obviously on,
Elections.
yeah, elections and whatnot, and properties.
It has to, right, it has to do with a number of different ones that might come up, different procurements, different notices that we might have to send out for hearings and advertise. So on any given year, right, it could be different things if we.
Right.
And then, so that would, cutting 7,000 there. Then on the personal services side, I propose making a modest cut to the overtime budget. But other than that, I believe the budget covers the contractual increases.
Yep.
However, I will point out to the board, and it's in the narrative, that there are 2 variable costs in here that I have not figured in that could amount to, I don't know, upwards of maybe $2,000 that are relative to personal services. And that's just a figure to bring that to your attention.
Okay.
One of those is that the Benefits Administration Manager contract expires June 30th, and the board is entering into negotiations
Yes.
with her. So I don't know what that figure will be.
Okay.
And then the other is that with the person who will be hired to come in and work as that Board of Selectmen Benefits Administration clerical assistant. They may have some longevity that will be due to them, and I'm estimating $400, and that's if they come in as, if it's somebody who was within that TEU.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I won't know that. That one I should know fairly soon, what that would look like, and then with the negotiations, that's subject to what the board can come to terms with.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Now, next, do you have health next?
I have health, the Board of Health budget. And here I'm proposing just a level funded budget for FY15.
Okay, so there's no reductions.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
it seems like there's funding enough to cover it.
And our health inspector seems to be very proactive,
Yes.
putting it
Yes.
mildly, so that's a good thing. So we're getting some good bang for our buck, as I say, so, great.
What I would also just point out to the board is that, last year was a year of transition with Mr. Kowal retiring, and then also with the board hiring a public health nurse and becoming involved with the shared public health grant. This budget, I think, should more transition occur in this year, and I hope it doesn't, but if it does, I think it should be able to cover, the year.
Okay, any uncertainties?
Right, I think so.
Okay, great. And next is legal service.
Legal services, again, I'm at this point recommending a level funded budget for the coming year. Notice on the year-to-date, it looks like it might be trending at 12,000 over, but I'm thinking that attributing that to perhaps a busy first quarter for FY14 with the culmination of 3 contracts being
Right,
settled.
Right.
So I'll have to keep a close eye on that with Tom and to report to the board, which is typically what needs to happen during the budget season with this budget in particular.
Okay.
Also, just bearing in mind that there will be 3 collective bargaining agreements that will expire June of 15.
Right.
So there will be work done at some point during the year.
Okay. Now, this has, nothing on this page is affected at all by any theoretical casino reimbursements?
No, the casino funding is not reflected in this page.
Okay.
But
I was
those are
just
It would be a
the-
benefit
It,
What's that?
if we were to receive reimbursement.
Right. Well, I'm thinking of, okay,
that would be a separate,
Am I wrong?
Yeah,
separate
true. No, you're right.
designated fund.
okay.
Tell me, what are the 3 collective bargaining units that are coming up?
Those would be your police, fire, and TEU.
Yep, because we did those all for 2 years to match the,
Seems
and
like
actually,
you just finished that.
well, yeah, we did,
Yeah, never mind.
Put it in,
yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So I would say probably this time next year, the board will be heavily involved in that.
Okay, great.
Or
Next is-
or maybe settled.
Yeah, sure.
It
That would be
a
nice.
fabulous thing.
And next is trash.
Trash collection. Trash is, I don't want to jinx anything, but trash appears to be somewhat of a bright spot here.
Okay.
The board, the board has not yet finalized or signed an agreement. That's being worked on. Council's working on it, getting closer. We met with Board of Public Works, discussed it with them. I think I went over that at the last meeting with the board. Right now, the recommendation is for a level funded budget, and with the idea that if push comes to shove and you need to find a few dollars, maybe 10,000, and somewhere a little bit more than that, depending on how comfortable you were, because you will experience a savings on your tip fee that could
Right.
be
Okay.
upwards of 70,000, again, to be determined.
Mm-hmm.
There are, within the hauling contract, there are provisions for fuel adjustments, so whatever fuel is gonna cost, we will be impacted. I can't imagine fuel's gonna go down in price.
Right.
That gets reviewed twice a year, so, there could be increases there, so whatever savings here, I would not recommend foregoing all of that. I would keep that in mind, but it looks like this budget could very well be in good shape, really good shape.
Great. And I noticed that contract's up June 30th of 2013 also.
For the hauling, yes.
hauling, yeah.
So I expect that at some point, maybe late spring or so, I'll be asking the board if you want me to talk with Long Meadow or any other communities to try and do another joint purchasing effort for hauling services.
Okay. Very good. Next, you have veterans?
Have veterans.
And this is,
Yeah.
once again, level funded?
Recommending level funded at this point, yes. There are two main components, just for the benefit of those who may be watching, there are two main components to this budget. The first is the assessment that the town has to be a member community of the Eastern Hampden County Veteran Service District. And I'm estimating that a modest increase, we don't know quite yet, but that assessment covers the cost of the salary for the agent and a little bit of clerical work and also for some incidentals, phone, a little bit of travel, etc. That gets assessed to us as one lump figure. That typically is decided, I believe, by the district in sometime February, March. You may recall that there was a meeting scheduled December 17th, but there was a significant snow that evening. The meeting was canceled. And so I would expect that that'll be rescheduled in short order, and that assessment will become clearer at that point. The second component of it, I wouldn't say more importantly, but yeah, more importantly, is the amount of money that is paid out in programs for veterans and for their services, and that's really what the main crux of the budget is for.
Right, and obviously, the higher that number gets, the more veterans are being reached and services being provided
That's
for,
great.
so that's a good thing.
That is a great thing.
The other great thing about that is that the town is reimbursed at a rate of 75% for those funds that go out. So doing the calculations, there's a number there, estimate, about 72,000 or so.
Yeah, 70,000.
Yeah.
But we would expect to receive, 75% of whatever that actually turns into.
Great. Very good. Thank you. And then we get celebrations.
Celebrations.
Only game.
You know,
It's scary, isn't it?
I'm not touching that. What exactly is celebrations? If I'm not, the parade? Gotcha.
What was the parade? Now the parade's got its own. It's got its own line item.
Yes.
More item. But now it's Memorial Day. It's our ceremonies, and Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and I don't know what other charges are, but.
Yeah, that's what are other charges?
Those are charges, generally speaking, relative to our assessments for veterans' graves within the 3 town cemeteries.
Okay.
So we pay an annual fee for upkeep based on that. But this budget here also, a main component of it includes utilities to the tune of about $5,800 for upkeep up at the Little Red Schoolhouse.
Okay.
So there is a proposal that I was speaking with Tom about, and also when I met with Ms. Starks from Appropriations, but she was the liaison, talking about perhaps seeing about transferring this funding over to the Department of Public Works. And I've not spoken with them about that, so I don't know what their thoughts are. Maybe Tom could, I don't know if Tom has any.
Now, what would
insight.
the thought process be behind that?
Well, all utilities are covered now under the consolidation that we did about 3 years ago with all utilities
okay.
recorded
On the DPW? Okay.
And it has it's surplus last year at about 100,000, so there should be sufficient room there to handle something like this.
And some of this is offset by the rental fees and whatnot for the Red Schoolhouse, at least for these expenses.
There are some
I mean,
modest revenues that
yeah,
come
yeah.
in. Recall that a lot of times there are scholarships that are given to
that's
East
right.
Long Meadow
In lieu
families
of,
in
yeah.
lieu of.
Okay.
So a revision on this budget may show that those have been transferred over, assuming that the board's going to want me to make that presentation.
Right, and respectfully, talking with DPW folks about that prior to making sure they're not surprised what we would hope for.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. These level funded ones are boring. Next, we got operations.
Operations, yep.
Boring.
Looking for a recommendation of level funding for this as well. About 30 out of the 45,000 for this budget. These are town-wide types of expenses where 30 out of the 45 more or less pays for the phone system for upkeep and repairs, somewhat of a contingency, really. There are also costs associated with, you'll see copiers, and that would pay for, say one department has some sort of a really large copying job and mailer that needs to be done. They might go and use the clerk's office copier in that case. Along with wireless. Wireless is, for the connections wherever you are in town hall, library, those types of costs. So it's somewhat, operations is really somewhat of a contingency, but there's a large phone expense component to it.
Okay.
Through the chair?
Yes.
Traditionally, how much of this are we spending? Is there usually a large balance that's left in this account?
Well, if you look at the last 2 years, it was, FY13 was 27, and FY14 was 17.4. So relatively speaking, yeah, it looks like a large balance. I have to tell you, I don't know if it's better to cut this one back, and then if we ran over, go back and do a reserve fund transfer. I would agree, it kind of looks like there could be some room there.
Yeah.
But you've done what we were asked, which was to level fund. I always like to overestimate on expenses and underestimate on revenues and be really happy in the end when we've spent less and earned more. But
And certainly, any excess will go back to the general fund.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Also seems like there's some duplicates, but we can have a discussion about that later.
Okay, and last but not least, I don't know if he's not here, but we'll proceed with animal control.
And I will say to the board, this is a piece of paper that I'm going to give to you now that you didn't get with this. I just realized I needed to send it to you. Food for thought, there are calculations on there about calls and revenues that
Thank you.
Tom had provided me with. So animal control, the budget that you have in front of you is meets within the 1% guideline. I will say to the board that when Appropriations held its meeting on December 5th and rolled out the instructions for the budget this coming year, it appeared to me that there was a figure up there for animal control that was something like 30. It was higher. It looked to me, and it really caught my eye because of the discussions that have occurred. In speaking with a member of the Appropriations Committee, it was made clear that that was really just sort of a placeholder. It didn't have any basis in really budget. It was a figure that was put up there for that evening for that discussion.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I had that discussion with Mr. O'Connor, and then so what I presented here for the board is that 1% budget, but also to show what some of these requests that he has made to the board that you may be familiar with, what they would be. So, for example, you have there a calculation for moving the stipend for the animal control officer, which is Mr. O'Connor and Ms. Legacy, who are animal control and then alternate animal control officer, from $50 a day to $75 a day. And you see the effect that that would have, about $91.50 for the year. And then for the operating budget, you see some proposals for in-state travel, the training, I'd bring that one to your attention. The Commonwealth passed a law in October of 12 that requires a certain amount of training for certification to be officially an animal control officer. Mr. O'Connor had taken that training in the spring, I believe, of 2012. So he is covered. Our alternate is not covered to be that full-time animal control officer, although she works under, in a sense, his guidance and is very familiar anyway with the number of laws. She has had some training to that effect. However, that would be one of the things that I think that he would like to see restored if that funding becomes available to get her that training. And then you see some other proposals for dues and memberships and so forth. So,
Just out of curiosity, because this is still like sticking in my head, and I don't really know where we stand with it. I notice we've got, it hasn't changed, but we have gas mileage maintenance.
yep.
Where do we stand with the animal control car that's gathering dust?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
didn't
he does
we-
not currently use that vehicle.
Was that?
He does not currently use that
But
vehicle.
didn't we put together a
We did.
procedure? Don't we have a?
The Board of Select, I'm sorry. Mr.
No, so say we don't have a completed use, a paper for him to sign for use of that vehicle?
The board passed a version of the a vehicle use policy, yes, and that was done. Mr. O'Connor has not signed that policy. I think that he would like to have an opportunity to speak with the board about that policy. That said, the policy is not truly the issue at this point, as I understand it. It's the vehicle has been sitting there now for some months and will require some maintenance work to be roadworthy. Something, maybe a battery replacement. I don't know what else, but
But that could, in theory, come out of
This budget.
this budget,
Exactly.
because in lieu of paying someone a stipend for mileage, we could use that
Exactly.
money to get that car up and running. I mean, I still don't get the whole fact of, we went through this whole process because a vehicle was needed, and we went through the whole process of getting appropriate paperwork for that, and now we're still not using it. So, and the town is still under some form of liability because they're using their personal car, and it's either, as far as I'm concerned, we should either get to where they're using the car, or just, I don't know what to do, just scrap the whole thing, because it doesn't make any sense to keep going the way we are after the work we put in on all this vehicle nonsense.
Through the chair.
Put it on the agenda.
Oh,
I think we should put it on the agenda for an added conversation.
Okay.
I'm aware
Maybe
of
for a
some
week
of
from
the
tonight.
concerns about the policy and
Okay.
perhaps having him come in. But I think we should put it on our
But
agenda.
the policy was in place. And the policy was put in place because there were concerns about using their own car.
right.
So we went through all of
Yeah.
that. So therefore, it should be signed and he should be using that vehicle.
That's
Well,
my
so I
thought
think-
process, too.
I think, so let's put it on our official agenda and
Well, see if we
put
can
it
come
to
in on
bed.
Tuesday.
okay. Will do.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. Since you got like
all of budgets,
15
you did a
budgets,
great
and
job.
Thanks.
90% of them community level funded, so.
That's nice.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
And even though we made you late, you're still 20 minutes ahead of where you would have been, so come on up to you.
It's all right. I get the text message says,
Things are going pretty quickly.
everybody's done.
How are you tonight?
I'm well.
Nice to
We're
see
not
you.
shaking hands because it's too hard to get over the date.
It's cold and flu season.
I don't
Oh,
know.
yes,
if
I'm sure
that's what it was.
something you've never seen before. And that's for you, an evaluation form for your future use.
My hard work.
Yes. And I actually worked with you on this budget, and you did come in within your 1% guideline.
Good job.
I'm trying to think, there weren't any, you didn't have any reductions to meet the guideline, you just.
No, we were pretty fortunate with the deputy retiring and with Gary giving his date for July. We have 2 new firefighters at the very bottom, or next to bottom step,
Yep.
as far as pay goes. So even with their increase, we were able to meet that 1% guideline.
That's great.
It didn't affect any of my operating, my vehicle repair, firefighting equipment replacement, all that stuff stays exactly the same, so I'm pretty fortunate.
Great.
Great.
And you've got a fairly high repair figure, which is always good, because that always seems to be a bugaboo somewhere
Yep.
during the course of the year. So it's good to start out with a,
We're doing well this year so far.
yeah. Good.
Overtime seems to be holding its own right now. We've been pretty fortunate with the weather. Usually this time of year, we get in trouble with some weather
stoves and
situations,
whatnots,
yeah,
and,
but we've been pretty fortunate with our overtime. We're running right around where we should be.
Good.
Not ahead of the game, so that's a good thing.
Very good.
Through the chair, you probably weren't here when we had the conversation about this, so we have approved our performance reviews, so we're going to ask you to fill that out for yourself.
Yep.
And then we three will also fill it out and then meet with you to come to agreement, consensus. There's an opportunity for us to set goals and talk about training and so on. So this is a tool for us to
Excellent.
work with you to do a good performance evaluation.
Perfect.
Okay?
Take a look.
Thank you, sir.
Is there a date on this?
Tomorrow. No, I think,
Nick is going to send it out, and we're going to try and set some dates too.
Yeah, we're actually discussing next meeting, right, to get them back. Not necessarily we have to discuss them, but at least have them back by the next meeting.
So he'll send you out.
Okay,
All right.
excellent.
Very good. Thank you. That wasn't too bad. As we wrap up here, I'd like to thank, first of all the department heads for their hard work in putting the budgets together. It's always difficult to be given to be having your purse strings tightened and have to come up with a budget, especially when some of them were, majority of the budget is salaries, which go up pursuant to contract. So it's nice that they all sharpened their pencils and got into this and actually did, got the 1% budgets in for us. I would also like to thank my fellow board members for their diligence in meeting with their being liaisons to their different departments and working with them on their budgets. I know it's time consuming. This time of year is always time consuming for the board. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the members of appropriations who also worked with us during the course of going over the budgets. And now the next step is to get them to appropriations, and then we'll go from there. And hopefully the state will shake a few dollars loose, a few more dollars than we're anticipating, and we can do a few more things than just keep everything sort of status quo. And other than that, I don't know if anyone else has anything to add to that.
Thank you.
All right. And other than that, I would like to ask, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Is there any discussion?
No discussion.
Wonderful. Here, all in favor?
Aye.
I don't like when there's discussion about adjourning.